Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss another update from India Forums.
Priyanka have been saying in all my interviews that Priyanka has very strong leadership qualities.
हर चीज में रोक टोक पागल हो गई हो क्या?
She's a very strong contender. Also, Shalin and Gautam for their love equations, etc., everything for the way they are. Gautam's and Saundarya's equation works out, then it would be nice. The big boss who's doing the show, and I thought I would be one of these bullets, small bullets there.
Shekhar Suman, who has been hosting the Bigg Bulletin in this season of Bigg Boss, got in an exclusive chat with us and spilled some fun details about his experience of hosting the segment, his favorite contestants, and a lot more. Firstly, sir, Bigg Bulletin has been receiving some amazing response. How overwhelming does it feel?
It is. I think it's just a vindication and it's a reassurance. It's a pat on your back, and that feels extremely good. I think, unless you don't have that connect with the audience, if the audience does not give a positive feedback, then everything is pointless. I think we all work for that appreciation, and I'm overwhelmed. Absolutely. So thank you, audience. Thank you so much for giving all that love and adulation.
When the segment was offered to you, what was your reaction? And what was it about this offer that made you go for it?
Yes, that's a very obvious question. That's probably I asked myself first, what am I doing here? Because this is primarily the big boss who's doing the show, and I thought I would be one of these bullets, small bullets there, and what would I be doing there? But then I thought that everybody has their own sort of space. When we are working together, we work in multi-star films, and then everybody is given their role. And I took it as a challenge, and I thought if I could do a show within a show, and if I could bring about my personality, my take, my perception on what's going on inside the house, it can be very interesting. And in my own sort of poetic way, coupled with shades and poetry, also raising a toast, also roasting them. So roasting and toasting happens together. So I thought that was a heady cocktail, and I sat and worked out a script, and it sounded interesting, and I thought that the audiences would definitely like it, and I'm happy that they loved it.
How has your personal experience of all these episodes been?
Interesting. I never thought that I would be enjoying so much, but then you get absolutely drawn to it, and it becomes addictive to understand human psychology, human behavior, the thrust and the need to win at any cost. When they have said Sam Dam Dand Bhed, and then you realize then actually, factually, everything is fair in love and war kind of a thing. So nothing is wrong, nothing is right, nothing is moral, nothing is immoral. You have to win the war at any cost, and that's what's going on. So very interesting out there, and as I said, that the more I'm able to understand the idiosyncrasies and the characteristics of all these contestants is becoming more and more interesting. The plotting, the maneuvering, the manipulation, and all of that, the stress, getting distressed, getting screwed in the head, getting messed up, shouting, abuses, all of that is just, as I said, human behavior, which makes it very interesting.
How has your family been receiving the show, and do they follow it?
They all started following the show. They all started following me and started following the show, and that's what it happens. And then even I started following the show. I used to watch it sporadically, off and on, but never regularly. But now, because it's part of my job and I have to give it all, I have been watching it very, very regularly to understand each and every nuance and every move of theirs, so that I don't miss out on anything, and I'm able to, if I find a spark somewhere, then I can talk about that.
Who do you think has the potential to be a winner this season?
Priyanka have been saying in all my interviews that Priyanka has very strong leadership qualities. I think she comes across as a very fierce and very strong woman, and somebody who can lead the show. She's on top of the heap. She's playing the game well. She understands it intuitively and instinctively. She reacts to situations and changes herself and adapts herself to that. So she's a very strong contender. Also, Shalin and Gautam for their love equations, etc., everything for the way they are. They are also strong contenders. Shiv, for that matter, because he's already been a Bigg Boss winner, the Marathi Bigg Boss winner. So he knows the strategies, he's already been through it. So more than knowing what to do, he knows what not to do, so he's playing the game well. There's Abdu, who comes across as the very little, cute, bubbly, lovable character whom everybody loves to love. And so I see these 5-7 contestants right there in the front league, and rest of them, you never know. Somebody could be a dark horse like Ankit, who's like a silent spectator, but I think he's goes down very deep, and one day probably, you never know, he will do a vault fast, he will do an about turn and come across as a completely different person than what we have perceived him to be, and become the winner.
आप किसके लिए personally root कर रहे हैं?
I think I like Archana a lot for the way she is. She might come across a little coarse, but that's the way she is, and that's what I like about her. She's brazen. I wouldn't say uncouth, but she's brazen. She brazens it out, and she's open. She's an extrovert, and she is who she is, so she makes no bones about the fact. So, but Priyanka and Archana, I see them as very, very strong contenders.
There are potential chemistries in the show as well. Which ones do you think are genuine and can connect with the audience further?
I don't know exactly at this point, because it's still in a very nascent and very formative stage. But I think if Gautam's and Saundarya's equation works out, then it would be nice. I think that if Shalin and Sumbul thing had worked out, it would have been interesting, but unfortunately it was a one-way traffic, it was one-sided, and now he's leaning towards Tina. So yeah, but more than that, these two make for a very interesting pair. Also, I think Ankit and Priyanka make for a very nice couple. You know, together they kind of physically also suit each other. They are a good-looking couple, and they're yin and yang. You know, yin and yang kind of thing, the opposites. So together, I think they can create a heady mix, and one of the two can just race ahead.
Lastly, what can the audience expect in the upcoming episodes of Bigg Bulletin?
I think a lot of fight, a lot of skirmishes, a lot of fierce battles and war and arguments and disagreements and fights and quarrels and all of that, which what makes Bigg Boss Bigg Boss. So unless all these elements are not there, people would not be watching. But the more the fight, more the shouting, more the shrieking, more the disagreement, people get more interested in watching it. So I think all of that has started and is going to move towards a crescendo. Thank you.